Disaster has struck. Disaster. Just in case you ever wonder why they call this place Beaver Bay. A lot of beavers. Good morning, my friends, and welcome back to Beaver Bay. What can I say? I love it here. I know that I've been here before a few times, but it's good to return to a location. You get to know it a little better, get to come up with some better ideas and different approaches, and have a different experience each time. So that's great. I have returned today to a different section of the river. I've never been here before. I drove a little further up the road and came in on a trail, section of the trail that I haven't yet to hike. So it's just a short little section, kind of walks along the river here. Fewer falls up here at this section, but that's all right. The ice is starting to form, and I've got this section right here with just all these little pockets, these tiny little islands of ice surrounding the rocks. Immediately behind me to my right, I've got these beautiful pine trees that are just all kinds of gorgeous texture and kind of moody behind me. So I think I'm going to spend a fair amount of time right here in this little section before I even hike up there. I see 3 shots right here in front of me. I just took one of this great little ice pattern in front of me. I've got a great little dollop of ice in front of me that's formed along the edge of a rock. I've got another great little pattern in the ice right here in front of me, and another one. I mean, it's just endless choices. So I'm a little overwhelmed, so I'm going to try to slow down and calm down and just let the inspiration take me today. I'm just going to kind of go with it. There's no real plan. I'm exploring a new area, and I'm out here to see what I can find and what I can discover, and I'm just going to go with that and enjoy it. And that's my plan for the day. Okay, I think we found our first composition for the day. There's just this little blob of ice kind of sitting out here on its own in the middle of the river. It's just formed on the top of a rock. The ice is formed on top of a rock. But around it, just below the surface, are all of these other rocks. And then you got the contrast of this dark water and the really bright ice, which is also posing a bit of a problem for me, that contrast. The water is really, really dark, and the shutter speed that I'm liking for that is about 3 seconds, which is blowing out the ice too much. So I'm gonna do a little bit of an exposure blend on this shot. I'm gonna do an exposure for the water and the rocks below the surface of the water, and a second exposure for that blob of ice in the middle, just to keep it from being overexposed, because the big white rock is just, or ice rather, is just reflecting all the light, what light that there is, and just go into pure white, and there's no detail left in it. So exposure for the water, exposure for the ice. I'm gonna put those two together and come up with one little image. There we go. All right. So to just show you what we're looking at the back of the camera here, here's our exposure. Whoops, lost my live view. Here's our exposure, and you can see I got these 3 rocks just kind of diagonally underneath the surface of the water, and then I've got my little ice pad right there in the middle. And that's just kind of it. It's just the dark water, the white ice, the interest of the rocks underneath the water, I think kind of make this whole composition. So exposing for the water and the rocks for about 3 seconds, and about 1/8 of a second to expose for that ice. we blend those two together, we should end up with a nice image. But I'll show you what this polarizer is doing. If I take it out, you can see how we can't see underneath that surface of that water at all. Spin it a little bit to expose those rocks, and it just kind of changes that whole composition. It makes it a little more interesting. Disaster has struck. Disaster. I was on the edge of the ice at the river, taking another picture, turning around to grab some filters, and I knocked my tripod over into the river. Tripod upside down, 3 legs sticking up out of the water, camera fully submerged. I guess that's the risk we take. Sometimes to get the shot, you have to put your gear in harm's way, but always better the gear than yourself. So something had to go into that freezing cold river today. I'd rather be my camera than me. I think we are done for the day, everybody. And sadly, that's going to be it from Beaver Bay here today. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for coming along with me. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And tell your friends, because who knows, next time I might drop the whole bag in a river. I hope not. Come on, little wet camera, let's go home.